preparing a strategy as more cases of the new COVID-19 variant are confirmed in the province.
We're containing this virus as much as we're able to.
The province is looking at ways to better protect residents from the Omicron variant, including accelerating third doses. Plus,
we're truly heartbroken.
How those from the city's African community are being impacted by the new travel restrictions that have been imposed to help contain the new variant. And
people are actually dying, right? I mean, what's the sense in arresting these people as opposed to treating them?
Toronto is considering a move to decriminalize possession of small amounts of illegal drugs as it grapples with a large spike in overdose deaths. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. 2 more cases of the Omicron variant were confirmed in Ottawa tonight. Now, just yesterday, Canada's first 2 cases were reported in the nation's capital, and add to that another new case in Quebec. There are now 5 confirmed cases in the country. As our Chris Glover reports, Ontario is now considering accelerating third doses to help contain the new variant.
10.
A 10 out of 10 concern over the Omicron variant from the director of Ontario's COVID-19 Science Advisory Table due to this startling equation. It took roughly 3 months for the highly transmissible Delta variant to go from 5% of cases to 95%. But Dr. Peter Juni says it took just 3 weeks for Omicron to go from 5% to 95% of cases in South Africa.
Which shows you we have an issue there and we need to take it seriously.
He says it's all over Africa. We just don't know it because genetic sequencing infrastructure barely exists across the continent.
We need to acknowledge this will mushroom everywhere, okay? So the fact that we just have seen 2 cases in Ontario shows you only one thing, which is our surveillance system is working.
2 lab-confirmed Omicron cases in Ottawa flagged at the Montreal airport and travelers returning from Nigeria.
We were fortunate to pick up these 2 cases from Nigeria, given that it was part of a random testing strategy.
Late today, confirmation by Ottawa Public Health of 2 more Omicron cases, and there are 2 others still under review in Hamilton. And 375 people in Ontario meet the federal government's requirements to undergo immediate testing, having returned in the past 2 weeks from one of 7 countries in southern Africa.
We're containing this virus as much as we're able to.
Ontario's health minister says we could be doing better if the feds immediately expanded testing requirements to all travelers.
We're also urging them to test people coming into the country regardless of where they've come from.
In the face of the threat, Ontario's Green Party is calling on the Ford government to immediately expand third dose eligibility to all Ontarians aged 40 plus.
You can anticipate potential acceleration of our third dose strategy.
Ontario's top doctor says to expect an announcement on third doses by the end of this week, but he's not eyeing a change to Ontario's reopening plan.
I don't foresee us having to take any steps back at present.
Unless, he says, data starts showing Omicron makes people sicker, which right now it is not. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
The Omicron variant was first identified in South Africa last Wednesday, with numerous countries, including Canada, swiftly imposing new travel restrictions to help contain it. Now, the ban impacting many in the city's African community, especially with the holidays just around the corner. Our Jessica Ng spoke to one family who will now have to postpone their Christmas reunion.
We're truly heartbroken.
It has been 3 years since Venetia Singh uprooted her family from Johannesburg, South Africa, and immigrated to Canada. She hasn't been back since and was hoping to host her 63-year-old mother here in December. But Friday, amidst concerns about the new Omicron variant, the Trudeau government banned travel from 7 countries in southern Africa.
We have booked flights, visas, everything has been done. To now be hit with this ban and this travel ban with this new virus, it's really, really disheartening.
The Omicron variant is said to have 32 mutations just on the virus's spike protein, which could make it more transmissible. With so many unknowns, Singh also fears for her family abroad.
it really does scare me that if she were to travel, or anybody were to travel, and they would have to come in contact with this virus, how it would react. No doubt, it's a huge risk.
Besides South Africa, the federal government has closed its borders to visitors from Namibia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Lesotho, Eswatini, and Mozambique. People who visited these countries in the last 14 days will need to quarantine until they can provide a negative COVID-19 test. Yakub Bayat arrived in Toronto just 3 weeks ago after visiting family in KwaZulu-Natal on the South African coast.
I kind of missed the travel restrictions, which I'm glad. I really would have been very disappointed if I couldn't return home back to Canada.
Meanwhile, although a reunion is no longer in the cards this year, Singh hopes to reunite with her mother soon so her 10-year-old daughter Kihani can finally celebrate a holiday with her grandmother in person.
Hope your wishes come true every day and always. Happy birthday.
The fact that I don't get to wrap my arms around my mom, or neither does she get to wrap her arms around my daughter, I mean, that really hurts me and really cuts through like a knife.
Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
More kids in Toronto will be getting their COVID-19 shot this week as the city continues its vaccine rollout for those aged 5 to 11. Now, the campaign is now in its second week, and the province's top doctor says so far, so good. Still, there is a long way to go. Greg Ross has more on what the city is planning to help boost numbers.
Oh, what a great guy, yeah! The totals are in for 1 week of vaccinating kids aged 5 to 11.
As of this morning, we have 6.4% of them protected with their first doses. We've immunized 68,722 children from 5 to 11.
And this week is already looking good for appointments as well.
We have at least 150,000 already booked.
The province's chief medical officer of health says it's a good start, but there's still a long way to go.
I hope that volume of individuals continues so they're best protected going into the holidays times when we can anticipate seeing more cases. The good news in all of this is that the impact on our hospital system is manageable at this point. We have intensive care unit capacity. We're watching those numbers like a hawk.
The city is hoping to give those numbers a big boost with another mass vaccination clinic here at Scotiabank Arena.
I'm inviting Toronto families to come down.
The mayor sent out this video to promote Kids Vaccine Day.
We're holding a special and fun clinic just for kids ages 5 to 11.
They plan to vaccinate thousands of kids on that day, and they're hoping the arena will provide a little incentive.
Be a superhero in the home of some of Toronto's favorite sports teams and take part in the fun activities all right here at Scotiabank Arena. Our favorite mascots, the Raptor and Carlton the Bear, they'll be here.
Kids Vaccine Day is scheduled for December 12th. Appointments can be booked on the city's website. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Right behind you.
All students at McMurrick Junior Public School have moved to remote learning as the school deals with a COVID-19 outbreak. There are at least 3 active cases at the school. 1 additional case has now been labeled as resolved. Now, 23 schools in the city are dealing with outbreaks. East of Toronto, École Élémentaire Catholique Corpus Christi in Oshawa is closed. The Mont Avenir Catholic School Board confirmed that the school is dealing with a high number of recent cases. A Toronto man is facing 138 charges in connection with a child luring investigation. Now, 35-year-old Jose Paulo Cawitan is alleged to have used multiple online profiles with usernames similar to popular social media celebrities in an attempt to lure children into sending him sexual photos and videos. The charges include 43 counts of luring a child, 18 counts of invitation to sexual touching, and 25 counts of making child pornography. And investigators are concerned there may be more victims. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Toronto Public Health is recommending the city decriminalize possession of small amounts of illegal drugs, pointing to the change as a way to curb overdose deaths. Now, the city is reporting a large spike in overdose deaths since the pandemic. Just yesterday, 2 men died from what police say was a suspicious drug batch. Dale Manukduk reports.
Jason's statement has been using drugs for over 20 years.
I recommend that if you're going to try it, then do it in a safe injection site, in a safe environment.
Toronto has seen an 81% increase in reported overdose deaths over the past year, partly due to what are called ultra-potent drugs.
We're seeing multiple different central nervous system depressants in one small batch of, what was expected to be fentanyl or expected to be heroin.
Toronto police released this image yesterday. They say the contents caused 2 men to die from overdose at a house party. The drugs have been sent for testing, but investigators are concerned more of the suspicious drugs could still be on the street.
At its core, we have a drug poisoning crisis, not just an overdose crisis. And we can stop it. We can save lives when we treat this like the health issue that it is.
According to a public health report, there were upwards of 6,000 suspected opioid overdose calls over the past year, 351 calls involving death. One measure Toronto Public Health is recommending to fight addiction is decriminalization within the city's boundaries, while still punishing traffickers and drug producers. Outside a safe injection site, this fentanyl addict believes it's the right direction.
People are actually dying, right? I mean, what's the sense in arresting these people as opposed to treating them, right? They need treatment.
Experts say that incarcerated people are at a higher risk of dying from overdose because of stigma and the likelihood they'll use alone.
So criminalization of substance use really has been ineffective and often causes social harms, and it disproportionately affects racialized communities.
In a statement, Mayor John Tory says he'll support decriminalization if it is preceded by a robust system of addiction healthcare supports and referral pathways to effectively address the problem as a whole, which are currently not in place or have too many barriers to access them. The recommendations will be considered at the Toronto Board of Health meeting next week. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Meteorologist Colette Kennedy joins us now with a first look at the forecast. And Colette, the wintry weather continues with more flurries today.
Yeah, we are looking at our conditions and our temperatures kind of below seasonal, so some of the snow from the weekend has stuck around. I mean, look where we started off this morning. Look at some of these numbers in Barrie and Peterborough as of 5 a.m. this morning. Even Toronto at -7 gets a little milder into southwestern Ontario. And then the warm-up, yeah, that was the warm-up for this afternoon. There'll be a few subtle changes coming, though, as we move into this week, but not so subtle. Some of the light snow that's pushing into southwestern Ontario. Now, it is going to be just a couple of centimeters and likely more rain here closer towards the lakeshore. But through the overnight hours, we get into a little bit of this light snow coming into the GTA, lingering into tomorrow morning. So maybe a little bit wet on the roads. Maybe get up a few minutes earlier to get your car dusted off and ready, but it shouldn't amount to much. Then clouds stick in there, a few isolated showers possible until we get into the evening when we'll see some lake effects setting up for you Tuesday. Tonight, it's -3. Tomorrow, up to 3 degrees. I'll talk about that minor little warm-up coming our way when I come back, Hilda.
Thanks so much, Colette. A new report from the Ontario Health Coalition says instead of holding long-term care homes accountable for deaths during the pandemic, the Ford government is rewarding them with license extensions and more beds.
So now more than 30,000 beds have been allocated, and the majority of those have been allocated to for-profits, and the majority of those have been allocated to the large for-profit chains, including the very worst of them, responsible for the preventable deaths of literally thousands of residents under their care in the pandemic.
The coalition says long-term care operators such as Chartwell, Southbridge, Sienna, and Rivera are being awarded these beds, adding they are among the operators with the highest death rates during the pandemic. The coalition says it wants to see not-for-profit operators being given the beds. Welcome back. The price of buying a home is shattering records all across Ontario. So the Ford government is calling on cities to speed up their approvals for new housing developments. But the opposition is asking whether that's the best way to make homes more affordable. Queen's Park reporter Mike Crawley takes a look.
The soaring cost of housing. Wherever you live in this province, it's an issue. Developers say municipalities take too long to grant permission for new housing projects. They say it's driving up prices by choking supply. That's also the Premier's view.
Believe it or not, folks, sometimes when they apply for a permit, it can take 4 to 6 years. Where in North America does it take 4 to 6 years?
And the logjam is
at municipalities. When it takes 4 years to get a permit, we're going to sit down with the municipalities and see how the province can help them. Give them the tools that they need to speed it up.
These past 2 years, the average sale price of homes has jumped sharply in Ontario's biggest cities. It's also happening all around the province, and the price spikes in smaller cities have been even more dramatic. The Ford government's solution? Build more homes faster.
Man, we got to start cutting the permit times down big time and start getting houses built as quickly as possible.
We know that there are delays, particularly at the municipal level, caused by duplication and red tape that are obstructing new homes from being built, which is shutting out Ontarians and their families from realizing their dream of home ownership.
But how significant a factor are municipal permit approvals in the red-hot price of real estate? According to developers in the GTA, a year of delays adds about $21,000 to the price of a typical high-rise condo unit. For the average new house, it's about $35,000.
My suspicion is that this is all about pandering to his developer buddies and pointing fingers at everybody else in terms of responsibility.
The Premier has called the mayors of Ontario's 30 biggest cities to a housing summit next month, and he's warning them that the province will soon start grading municipalities on how quickly they give permission for new housing projects. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
Former Blue Jay Robbie Ray is heading west. Ray has reportedly agreed to a 5-year deal with the Seattle Mariners. In the meantime, the Jays are hoping a new acquisition will add some more depth to their pitching staff. The team has reportedly reached an agreement with right-hander Kevin Gausman. It's a 5-year deal worth $110 million US. The 30-year-old Gausman was 14-6 with a 2.81 ERA and 227 strikeouts for San Fran last season. The Gausman deal, along with the recent signing of right-hander Jose Barrios to a $131 million 7-year deal, are the largest pitching contracts in team history. Well, skating is back on in the city's downtown. The rink at Nathan Phillips Square opened last week, and today, Mayor John Tory opening up Union Station's new outdoor skating rink.
It's going to be a good time through the holiday season. People can have a skate for free, as they've been told, and I'm just happy that it's going to get people downtown and help in the cause of bringing the city back to life.
Visitors will be able to lace up at the Front Street Plaza rink until January 2nd. And if you don't have your own skates, the city is providing people free rentals. Bauer Hockey has donated skates and helmets that will be available for use at no cost. And you're looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline, partly cloudy tonight with a bit of snowfall coming back in the wee hours, -3 in the city tonight. All right, let's go back to Colette with a look at your extended forecast. And Colette, we aren't expecting a lot of snowfall overnight, but enough to make for some slicker roads for the morning commute.
Yeah, that's right, Kelda, and we'll add just a little bit through the overnight hours. It's going to stick around, but it's not going to likely be here as we get a little deeper into this week, because we're going to see some minor warm-ups coming in our temperatures here. Light snow, though, passing through tonight, lingering into tomorrow morning, and having a slight impact on the commute just because it'll be a bit wet. It's not because of the amount that we'll be seeing. And then we get into, all right, tomorrow's still a little below seasonal, but as we get into Wednesday, we'll see, and especially Thursday, that temperature coming up above seasonal, and it will come with some rain showers. But see what I mean? We'll see that snow washing away, and because of the milder temperatures, it is going to be some rain. But tonight, it's some light snow there in southwestern Ontario, although more of a mix or liquid form closer to the lakeshore there. And we see it push towards the GTA in the overnight hours, still lingering early tomorrow morning around the Niagara region. And then we get into a few sunny breaks perhaps in the afternoon, but primarily a lot of cloud cover. And by evening, we start to see the lake effect setting up, so a few flurries coming back. This is just the kind of pattern we go into. We should have some sun Wednesday, and it's not till late day this next system comes in. So think evening hours a little bit earlier into southwestern Ontario, and it brings that rain into early on Thursday. So some wet conditions will come there. As for what's coming through overnight tonight, a little more significant in southwestern Ontario. Elsewhere, we're just talking about a trace to 1 or 2 centimeters here around the Golden Horseshoe. Tonight's temperature readings, yes, they come up and are milder as the system moves in. So London, you'll see that change coming too. And for tomorrow, those daytime highs, 2 to 4 degrees. Windsor, 3 degrees below seasonal, just a little bit there. And overnight, again, a cool one. Oshawa, Markham starting off with those temperatures quite chilly. The wind's not terribly strong, but there'll be a slight wind chill in there. And tomorrow, hoping we'll see a few of those sunny breaks coming our way there with those daytime highs. There's your warm up though into Thursday. Look at Wednesday night, temperature barely fluctuates, and then we'll take it to 7 degrees, and we'll say that's a good thing for this time of year, right, Kelda? We'll take it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Colette. Toronto Raptors rookie and Toronto native Delano Banton was honored by the city this afternoon in his Etobicoke neighborhood.
The avenue to success is just kind of putting dedication and, sacrificing the things that you think are distractions and, just kind of putting your best foot forward into what you want to do. And, I use that and just use what you have to motivate me. I kind of use my neighborhood.
Banton joined Mayor Tory and other city dignitaries at the Rexdale Community Hub. He spoke to children at the center about his success in the NBA so far, while signing autographs and leading a group in some basketball drills. He even taught the mayor some dunking skills. Another young Raptors star was out and about today. Scotty Barnes giving back in a big way. He's teaming up with Nordstrom and Operation Warm, donating brand new coats to make sure kids don't go to school cold this winter. He also shot some hoops with some potential future Raptors.
We got some that making shots, hooping, they like basketball too. It's a good way to have good activity.
It was all part of a TDSB initiative to get kids outside. Every kid in attendance went home with a brand new jacket, and they were all pretty thankful.
My coat is really comfy. I like the color.
Well, I've been wearing the old coat for like a year or two. I don't know.
I like it because the color is nice.
Operation Warm has worked with Nordstrom for the last 2 years to provide kids with free coats. The Toronto District School Board selected students at Braeburn Junior School in Etobicoke to be recipients of this year's donation. Last year, over 22,000 coats were distributed to children for free through the program across North America. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Dwight Drummond has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 11. And we will leave you tonight with these beautiful photos of our first snowfall of the season in High Park. Have a great night, everyone.